Hi everybody, this is Julissa. Thank you so much everybody for coming back to my channel. Thank you so much to everybody who's listening right now in the podcast. It is Wednesday, January 1st, 2025. I really hope everybody had a great New Year's. I want to thank you so much everybody who has been subscribing and listening in the podcast. Thank you so much to everybody who follows me on Spotify. It really means a lot. I wanted to do a follow-up video regarding the Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni situation. I think about a week or 2 weeks ago, I came here and told you about the lawsuit that Blake Lively filed against Justin Baldoni and everything. There's a lot of stuff being exposed about the whole situation. And one thing that and the update that I'm going to give you today is that, in case you didn't know, that Justin Baldoni just filed a $250 million lawsuit against the New York Times, I believe. The New York Times regarding false allegations regarding the lawsuit of Blake Lively, right? So he basically filed back against the lawsuit that she did. And I think it wasn't just him that did the lawsuit. I believe there's 14 other people involved regarding the lawsuit against Blake Lively by Joseph Baldoni in the New York Times, right? So let me read to you briefly this article before I give you my take on it. Excuse me. It says here that after Blake Lively accused Baldoni, her director and co-star on It Ends With Us, of harassment on the set, he filed a $250 million lawsuit against the New York Times for reporting on the false allegation. In his December 31st, so just yesterday, legal filing by Baldoni also leveled accusations at Lively's husband, Reynolds, right? We all know, I mentioned in my video, Ryan Reynolds, for this to be the way that the whole lawsuit of Blake Lively was presented. I have some doubts about it because we are talking about these people who are veterans in the industry, I guess you can say. And it's not just her on her own, it's also the husband. So I couldn't understand how she was going to go through so much abuse, so much harassment. And, if he's doing that to her, he's also basically coming after Ryan Reynolds, which is a pioneer, I guess you can say, in the industry. And that was like my question, right? That was my question about how can this be led to how can this be allowed to happen, right? I mean, Joseph Baldoni has done his projects and has done his movies, but compared to Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, I think that's a big powerhouse for her to be on set and be harassed and be put down and be belittled and all of this stuff. It's like the little man, I guess you can, this is just my term, the little man is going up against the big people in this industry. That says a lot, and how can this be allowed, right? But here we are, guys, right? So they're both basically filing lawsuit. So yesterday, Baldoni filed the lawsuit against the New York Times for $250 million and accused Lively husband Ryan Reynolds for being aggressive while defending his wife. Lively husband Ryan Reynolds had aggressively berated Baldoni during a meeting at their penthouse in New York, accusing him of fat-shaming Lively. Reads his lawsuit obtained by by the reporting agency. Baldoni, in an effort to avoid further confrontation with Lively and Reynolds and rebuild rapport with his co-star, continued to bend her will. According to Baldoni, the couple's inappropriate and humiliating berating of him was deliberate, perhaps intentionally, as other celebrity friends were coming in and out of the penthouse. Obviously, like I just told you, I can't believe they continue on with this project of this movie. People always tell you stuff. People always throw you shade. And if you meet somebody, right, you're set to schedule to work with somebody. In the initial meeting, you see some things, you see some shade that's being thrown at you. You can have a million people backing them up and saying they're good people, but when they meet you, you see something different. That's a red flag for you to stop it. Get out of whatever contract you sign. Get out of whatever it is, because later on, if you already saw that, I guess now they call it microaggression in that moment when you first meet them, and you're like, okay, maybe I'm in my head too much, and you're like, okay, let's meet another time, and you continue to see this thing, and perhaps you meet people that need your constant adoration, right? Or they belittle everything else that you have done. That's a red flag for you to stop and don't do any work with them, because it's never gonna get better. Like sometimes we think like, oh no, once they get to know me, it's gonna get better. The initial meeting with somebody says a lot to you about that person, how they perceive you. You need to also understand that these days, there's a lot of information about people on the internet, and we are all created, like we are all searchers and curiosity, right? And if we set to work with somebody, a lot of the times we go on the internet and search whatever we can find. People, in the past, people will be like, oh, look them up on Facebook, find out, what they like and things like that, before you even get to meet them. And it's bad, what social media has created, because you get sometimes the wrong perception. So people don't even give you the chance to get to know you, right? But what I'm saying, a lot of the times you have that gut feeling. It's like, this person, I just met them, and they already have some type of judgment against me. What's up with that? That's God telling you, stay away from them. They already created this perception of you, and it's just going to lead to more problems. And I think this is the issue that happened here. Okay, probably this guy Baldoni was so happy to work with Blake and her reputation, and probably knowing she's married to Ryan Reynolds, they're gonna have a great relationship. He had no idea, probably, this is just my opinion, guys, what he was getting himself into. And for him, he's accusing Ryan Reynolds to it says they use the word aggressively berated Baldoni during a meeting at their penthouse. Of course, right? They're basically telling you who's basically in charge here. Okay. One thing though, I gotta say, when I was reading, everything that happened with this lawsuit, one thing I gotta say is that usually when people are like, I'm trying my best not to pick any sides, because when it comes to abuse, we have to be so careful, right? But there are certain questions that I have regarding this case specifically. And one thing is that when people do something evil for you, people who are manipulative, narcissistic tendencies, bullies, and manipulative, when they do something evil to you, and you have people in common, friends, co-workers, whatever, family members, they do something interesting. If you pay attention, after the offense happens, right? After they have an argument with you, and you see the true colors, you see them for who they are, they usually will reach out and call, right, the people that you have in common. They'll call the people that you have in common, they meet with them so that they can get them on their side immediately, right? Because they're going to come crying and say, this happened, this and the other. And basically have already built this fan base. So when it's time for you to share your story, they're like, they already made up their mind. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to explain it. I have seen it happen many times, It's like, you see kids arguing or something, and then when something really bad happens, when they start fighting with each other, there's usually that one that comes straight and starts sharing the story immediately, even though they might be the one who created the whole problem, right? So who came out first? That's the thing that I'm getting to. Who came out first? She's the one who filed the initial lawsuit, right? And I think that's very telling, because I go back to what I told you in my previous video. You mean to tell me that the wife of this pioneer in the industry, very well known, Ryan Reynolds, is being harassed, is being accused, is being taking away her rights to edit the movie or do things that she wanted to do creatively, and she's just gonna sit and take it? And like, why wasn't this lawsuit filed like middle of production, so that they can end and do something, and maybe, I don't know, like, I know Baldoni was involved in producing the movie and this and that, but sometimes you have to come to the realization that not everybody can work together well, right? Not everybody, not everybody can work together well, and like, that's why there's so many people doing the same thing. That's why you have options, right? There are things that people, you can never hire based on experience. You have to know if you can get along with somebody. I don't care if you know how to do everything. If you have an attitude like every time you don't like to be told what to do, or you always late, some people are not gonna be okay with that, right? And if you want to come to a project that's already designed and you want to come and change everything and make it your own, not everybody's gonna receive that. And I think that's what happened here. But my question is, how did it took that long for them to do this lawsuit? And like I said, whoever puts out the first, complaint and saying, "This is my story," it says a lot, because like I said, it's almost like this type of personality. I'm not describing her, but I'm saying the people who usually do that, the manipulative, narcissistic people, they usually like to get ahead and tell the story first, so that by the time you show up trying to get sympathy because of what happened to you, because you're actually the victim, you're knocking on doors that people are already fan of whoever is being accused, of whoever like told the story first, because they already were received first. Right? Like, you're coming here crying that this happened to you, but they're like, "Oh, well, we already believe her because she came out and already said the story," right? So time will tell. I think that right now they're demanding for a jury for this to go to trial. There's a lot of evidence, I guess, text messages, conversations. I have the feeling that everything's gonna get dropped at some point, and everything will be like, okay, everything is gonna be resolved before it even goes to court. There's a lot of people involved now, but they are demanding for a jury trial, so we shall see. Let me know, guys, what you think about this. Have a good day, everybody. God bless.